تفضل.
AEB book in New York, Barakallahu Fiqh. What advice would you give a new Muslim regarding the significance of the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah and what they can do to take advantage of these days?
طيب بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Advice to a new Muslim with regards to the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah and what they can do to take advantage of those days. Islam is a religion based off of generality and speciality. We have specifics and we have generals, or general things. There's always time to do good. There's always time for good deeds. There's always time for righteousness, for piety, always. But there are certain seasons, certain times, certain places in which is recommended for you to increase and intensify your efforts. And there's a greater reward, a higher reward, etc. Just like sports. It's no different than a football game. You play good the whole game. You concentrate, you practice, you do your best. But the first quarter is not like the fourth quarter. The last 2 minutes, the 2-minute warning is not like the beginning of the quarter. Overtime is not like the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. The playoffs is not like the regular season, the conference, the divisional round, the etc. So there are times in which you have to work harder. And there are times in which the reward and the fruit, the benefit is greater. There's no doubt about that. So that's what I would explain to them. And from those times and those days are the 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, the first 10 days. And a person should do anything which is recommended, which is from the way of the Messenger of Allah with regards to prayer, fasting, charity, seeking ilm, visiting your family members, anything of khair, anything of good. And last but not least, I would advise the Muslim who's been Muslim his entire life, and the Muslim who's just reverted back to Islam, come back to his fitrah, become a Muslim, is to realize the importance of Hajj and the significance of Hajj and Abraham and Ishmael and what they represent and mean to us as Muslims. And Allah knows best.
Initials NR, Toronto, Canada. Assalamu alaikum Mufti. If the day of Arafah falls on Saturday, do we have to fast the day before it? And can we make the intention to fast on Arafah and make up a missed fast from Ramadan?
Tight question comes from Toronto with regards to the day of Arafah. If it falls on a Saturday, do we have to fast the day before it? So on and so forth. And what happens if a person missed the day in Ramadan? Can they make it up on Arafah? Tight. We have a few different issues here. We'll try to be as brief as we possibly can because I know there are a lot of questions. Fasting Arafah, you're either going to single out the day or you're going to fast it included in the first 10. Period. So if it's a part of the first 10, there's nothing to worry about. If it is just Saturday, fast Saturday and don't worry about anything. It's haram to fast on Saturday, don't worry, fast the day. Everyone understand it based off of that narration. And the day of Saturday, according to that hadith, says that you shouldn't fast on Saturday unless you have to. As far as a day before or day after, that's Jumu'ah and not Saturday. You cannot make up a obligatory day with the intention of the recommended day. You can't do that. You can do it during the same time, but it's not Arafah fast. That's the Ramadan fast that you did on the day of Arafah, but that's not the specific intention for Arafah. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. All right? So therefore, it is not a recommended day that you're making. Arafah is recommended. You're making up a wajib day that was missed, which is Ramadan. So you can't confuse the two there. Wallahu alam.
Initials AK, London, UK. Assalamu alaikum Mufti. I hope you are well. Should a brother consider marrying sisters from Instagram who follow brothers' dawah accounts and like their posts, etc., but they do not speak to brothers on social media?
Tell you, repeat the question, please.
Initials AK, London, UK. Assalamu alaikum Mufti. I hope you are well. Should a brother consider marrying sisters from Instagram who follow brothers' dawah accounts and like their posts, etc., but they don't speak to brothers on social media?
Tayyib. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you and may Allah protect you. Question from London. Can or should we marry sisters who follow brothers' dawah pages on Instagram, but they don't speak to brothers on social media, etc., etc.? Marry the sister with good character. Marry the sister that's trying her best to strive and practice the deen. Marry the sister that you find is attractive and pleasing to you. Marry the sister that you feel comes from good roots. Marry the sister that you feel will bear you good children. Marry the sister that you feel is studious and knowledgeable, etc. That's it. On social media, off social media, following these brothers, following that brother, none of that is important right now. Ad-deen wal khuluq, character, religion, her appearance, her background, and most importantly, her direction, where she's planning on going in the future. What does she want to do? I want to raise a family. I want to go overseas. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to learn the Quran. Wahakadha. That's the sister that you should marry. And we should realize that social media is the staple fabric of our lives in 2019. That's how it is. All right? So whether a sister talks to a brother on social media or not doesn't necessarily qualify or disqualify her for what? For marriage. Wallahu alam.
Initials DI, Toronto, Canada. If I hope something bad happens to somebody when I'm angry, but I actually don't mean it, is there a possibility of it happening in the future? Example, if I say I hope you get hurt.
A question from Toronto. Someone who gets angry and they say, I hope something bad happens to you, but I really didn't mean it. I just spoke out of anger. Will that have an effect on it happening? What?
Yeah, could it happen in the future?
Right. Nothing will happen unless Allah decreed it, whether you say it or not. And we have the concept of making dua. We have the concept of ayn. We have the concept of, as people say, jinxing. Don't put the ayn, whatever. People use different terms. Not saying they're all correct. Ayn is haqq. Okay, we have the concept of law of attraction, the concept of thinking something in existence, etc., etc., etc. Nothing takes place in this universe unless Allah knew about it, wrote it down, created it, and willed it. Period. We don't know about it. That's why we make dua. Allah willed this to happen, and from the reasons is the ayn. From the asbab is the dua, and so on and so on and so on and so forth. All right? But nothing is going to happen unless Allah has decreed it. You have no control over Allah's qadr with your dua or your anger. The absolute qadr doesn't change. All right? That's first and foremost. You shouldn't speak when you're angry. The Prophet ﷺ advised the man, do not become angry. And anger is oftentimes the key of all negative emotions. Oftentimes. It's the thing which colors your judgment. It's the thing which shows your weakness and your lack of patience and your lack of control over a situation. You have to lash out and tirade and have a tantrum. Okay? And you get an immediate satisfaction from it. But oftentimes the effects of that anger later on are 10 times worse. So do not become angry. If you don't become angry, try your best not to speak. Don't curse. Don't make dua against people. Just relax. Find out a way to figure it out. Inshallah ta'ala. And this is golden advice, what? For myself first and foremost. Wallahu alam.
Initials MZ, Brussels, Belgium. Assalamu alaikum mufti. Can one do dhikr while making wudu in a masjid's wudu area or in a bathroom with no toilet seat?
Questions from Belgium. Said Brussels, Belgium. Can one make dhikr while making wudu in a wudu area, in a masjid, or in a bathroom which there is no hammam? It's permissible. It's not haram. It's not disliked. There's nothing wrong with that. Rather, many ulama say it's not haram to make dhikr in the actual bathroom or in a place in which you're making wudu and the toilet is over there. Because there's no direct dalil from the Quran or the Sunnah stating that you cannot mention Allah's name in that place. Is it the best thing to do? Are there hadiths in which the Prophet ﷺ says, Inni karitu, and so on and so forth? That's one thing. But it being haram, it needs a specific proof. At the end of the day, to answer the question, there's nothing wrong with that. You're in the wudu station, you say Bismillah before you make wudu. If you said, a brother spoke to you, Assalamu alaikum, say, Alaikum assalam, kayf harak, alhamdulillah, barakallahu feek, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with reciting the Quran while you make wudu. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hanan S, Montreal, Canada. Assalamu alaikum mufti. May Allah bless you. Is it permissible to sleep on the stomach?
Question from Montreal. Assalamu alaikum, may Allah bless you. Is it permissible to sleep on the stomach? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There are hadiths about that a person should not sleep upon the stomach. There are hadiths to support that view. If those hadiths are authentic, then you shouldn't sleep on your stomach. No doubt about that. If those hadiths are not authentic, they're not sahih, then it's permissible for one to sleep on his or her stomach. Wallahu alam.
Initials MR, Lodi, California. Assalamu alaikum. Mufti, is it permissible to say Bismillah before every bite of food or drink of water, juice, etc.? And Alhamdulillah for everyone, after everyone as well. will this be considered a bid'ah?
Questions from California. Is it permissible to say Bismillah for every morsel, every sip, every drink, and Alhamdulillah after that as well? Would that be considered a bid'ah? If you keep doing it each and every single time, it could become a bid'ah. And you believe and feel that that's the good thing to do, the recommended thing to do, the preferable thing to do, the commendable thing to do. No, do not do that. You say Bismillah in the beginning of the meal, and that's it. You say Alhamdulillah in the end of the meal, and that's it. As far as if you're talking while you're eating, or as far as you give a general, you eat the food, you say, Alhamdulillah, this is good, mashallah, Alhamdulillah, la bas. This is really what? Some real good, Afghani food, we ate in California. You say, Alhamdulillah, this kebabs is nice, right? That's one thing. But not with the intention of what? Every single bite. No, don't do that. And it could lead you to a bid'ah. Allahu A'lam.
Initial MI, Birmingham, UK, currently on vacation in Detroit. Assalamu alaikum mufti. Who was considered as Silatul Rahim? Kinship. Barakallahu feekum.
Who or what?
Huh?
Who or what?
Who?
Question comes from Birmingham. Our beloved brothers and sisters in Birmingham. May Allah bless them all. Who is considered to be Silatul Rahim? Ties of kin or kith. Those whom you're related to. Those whom you share a womb with. So your relatives, your family members, mahram, non-mahram, this and that. Al-Muhim is some type of connection there. Aunt, auntie, uncle, even a cousin. You don't have to shake their hand and hug them and see them uncovered, etc. But you are related to them. And it is some type of rahim that you all share. And those are the people that deserve that sila. On one level or another. Wallahu alam.
Anad S. Montreal, Canada. Assalamu alaikum mufti. What is the greatest hardship you faced and how did you overcome it?
Questions from Montreal. What is the greatest hardship that you faced and how did you overcome it? I don't think I can answer that question because I may have hardships that I haven't yet what? Overcome. Oh, subhanAllah. Maybe not face those hardships. Allah knows best. At the end of the day, one of the most difficult hardships, which is the reality, is the hardship of hypocrisy, learning and implementing and acting upon it. Easy to preach, practicing a different story. So that's a daily struggle. The more you learn, the more you look at yourself and look down upon yourself and realize that you need to implement more of what you teach. That's a daily jihad for anyone. You see what I'm saying to you? So that's a personal struggle. And there are many others, Wallahu alam. Fadal.
What's the hadith that you read the first time you read it, you cried?
What's the first hadith that made you cry? Oh, man. I don't recollect. Allahu alam. Tafaddal.
What's the ruling on slaughtering? Is it a certain amount of money you need to have before you slaughter for the Eid that's coming up? Or just, I don't feel like slaughtering?
Cool. Question is, what's the ruling on slaughtering? Do you have to have a certain amount of money, or a person says, I don't feel like it? Some ulama hold view that it's obligatory. Whoever has the ability has to do it. And some scholars, they say, is that it's only obligatory upon the wealthy. You have the money sitting there. Clearly, you must do it. And others hold the view that it's just recommended all around the board. All around the board is what? Totally recommended. So therefore, if a person has the money, it does not hurt them or harm them. Alaikum salam, is not going against the priority, bills. Your wife needs money, your children are hungry and starving, begging, and you say, I'm going to slaughter. If none of that is the issue, there's no reason why you shouldn't slaughter yearly. And if you yourself are busy or can't do it, or some brothers are scared of the knife or the blood of the animal, then they should at least what? No question, they should pay for it. There's no reason why you shouldn't. $500, $300, there's no reason why you shouldn't. There's no la yanbaghi tarku, at least. Let alone it could be obligatory upon those who actually have the affluency. Wallahu alam.
SL, Miami, Florida. Is it a valid marriage if a woman married a student of knowledge without a wali by following the Hanafi madhab and without witnesses from her side or student or from the student of knowledge's side.
Questions from Miami. A sister got married to a student of knowledge without a wali and without witnesses, and they were supposedly following the Hanafi madhab. طيب. طيب. At the end of the day, the Hanafi madhab, according to some Hanafi scholars, not all of them, is that a woman does not need a wali to get married. Just like a woman does not need a wali to buy and to sell and to own her money and to run her own business and her property. If she's Rashida, she's not a fool, she's of age, and she's independent. They have their proofs and evidences for that, and the majority of the ulama, the other side, they have their proofs and evidences for that. The Hanafi scholars who hold that view, they don't necessarily recommend it. They don't necessarily say that it's the best thing to do. And many of them also say if that a woman marries someone, غير كفء, someone who is incompatible with her, then her male mahrams have the right to annul the marriage and abate it. So it's not just black and white as many people make it seem. All right? Okay? At the end of the day, if a person was following the teaching of that madhab, then those ulama who say that and they hold that view. If they weren't following that and they were just following their desires or they were confused, then obviously it's going to be a problem according to the majority of the ulama. So at worst, do the marriage again if you have some type of doubt, at worst. And at best, inshallah, is valid based off of that madhab. Wallahu alam.
It shows SO Allah for Malaysia. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Here in Malaysia, making collective dua after a fard prayer is practiced in most masajid. Should we leave if we see this happening?
Should be what?
Leave.
Question is in Malay, coming from Kuala Lumpur. People make congregational dua in the masjid. It's a widespread practice. Should we leave the masjid when we see it? One aspect, one angle, we say yes. Turn away from the ignorant. Turn away from the disobedience, the innovation. That's not from the sunnah. For the people to sit in a circle and to chant and to hoo and shake and twirl. And that's not, the Prophet never did that. The Sahaba never did that. Okay? And they prayed more than us. And they prayed better than us. Allah Azza wa Jal, He sent down those ayat. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَكَبِيرَةً عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ. He sent that down to the who? That's the Sahaba He was talking about. So they prayed more than us and they prayed better than us. And they didn't do that stuff. So that, of course, it shouldn't be done. However, how many masjids do you go to? In which every single masjid you go to, they do it. So as soon as the imam makes the taslim, he starts the Allahumma salli, and then you have to leave every masjid and get up and run out of every masjid. And that's eventually going to turn into a what? A problem for you. Now you're leaving off sunnah, dhikr. Now you're just running outside, not focusing on your prayer. So an isolated situation in which you have advised them, it's ugly, it's hated, it's evil, turning away from the munkar, that's one thing. Versus something in which the munkar has become the what? The ma'ruf. What can you do? You go, you pray, they're making their stuff. I'm sitting there, I'm making my dua, I'm reading my Quran. I'm not dealing with them. If I advise them, they'll make fun of me. They'll call me a Wahhabi. They'll say, you don't have ijazah, you're not Shafi'i. And all the things that they'll say about me, it's no point in me talking to them anymore. They make their dhikr, I do my thing, and I do what? Leave them be. You have to be mindful of that scenario, huh? And in many Muslim countries that are just like that, unfortunately. Wallahu alam.
Shows NMO, Fort Wayne, Indiana. What is the interpretation of seeing a dream of one losing their teeth?
Tayyip. Questions from Fort Worth, Indiana? Fort Wayne. The interpretation of losing your teeth in a dream. It depends. The ulama of Islam, they give different interpretations to losing teeth. It depends on how many teeth you lose. Did you have the teeth in your hand or did they fall on the ground? It depends. Sometimes the loss of teeth means old age. Person will live. And sometimes it means loss of a loved one, loss of someone close. Those are the general rules. In general, there are other interpretations of what it means to lose someone's teeth. Having the teeth in your hand, collecting them, and not allowing them to fall on the ground is different than them just falling out, and which teeth are falling out. And teeth represent something. They represent many things, okay? Livelihood, and youth, and things like this. And also things that are beloved to you. Your smile, your appearance, how you eat. You lose your teeth. Are you understand this? So we have general interpretation, and then we have the specific lifestyle of the person. What do you do for a living? Did this person die? So on. All of that has to be taken into consideration to make an accurate ta'bir, an accurate interpretation of the dream. So if they want the specifics, then they should email us the specifics, inshallah. But that's the general interpretation of it. Wallahu alam.
And that as Mashallah, Assalamu alaikum. What are the pros and cons of adopting an orphan?
How much time we have? 5 minutes. Inshallah, we'll stop here and we'll take this question hopefully tomorrow. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Wallahu alam.